Week 39 on Geek Week in review, and we have got tons to talk about this week, so make sure you stay tuned.
The Geek Week in review.
Hello and welcome back to the Geek Week in review with me, Jacob's Toys, RyanSpeaksGeek, and as you can probably tell, we are missing SuperSorrell. SuperSorrell is away in Galaxy's Edge and unfortunately couldn't make it onto this week's show. So we will be checking in with him. It's a Disney wave just for SuperSorrell. We will be checking in with him, so we'll try to get him in for next week. But the guy is doing loads of fun stuff over in Galaxy's Edge, which I'm sure he's going to tell us all about. If you do want to catch up with him, make sure you check out his TikTok, his Instagram stories, etc., because he's posting loads on there, sampling the blue milk and having an awesome time. Obviously, if you are watching on YouTube, then please do like, share, subscribe, all of those things. We do support the support. We do appreciate the support.
But we also support the support of the appreciation that we do support and appreciate.
Support the appreciation of the support. And if you're listening on podcast, then please do all the same. Download, share, subscribe to the channel. Check out the description below because Ryan's details are in it, as well as Mr. Sorrell's as well. And give them guys a follow if you don't already do so. And of course, if you are on Facebook or Instagram, then do check out the Geek Week in review over on both of those platforms as well. Mr. Ryan Speaks Geek.
Just a pair of pre-recording that bit because I mean that's getting longer every time.
It's getting
everywhere now.
This was a little bit longer, wasn't it? Because obviously with Sorrell, well, we had to give the guy a shout. We had to give him a shout. It feels weird not to have Sorrell here. So week 39.
It's taken 39 weeks for me basically to almost take over the show because I got invited on and like what I think
it's week 12,
like 11, 12,
13, yeah.
As a guest, never left, and then obviously it's been the odd one where it's just been you two since then. But this is the time when I push someone out. Really giving him that fake competition win to go to Disneyland was a brilliant stroke of genius on my part.
he's still at Gatwick Airport, like with a fake ticket.
It's not even blue milk. It's just a power drink mixed with milk that I've gone. Yeah, it's blue milk.
You put a lot of effort into this. A lot of effort. That's
you know what? Weirdly, it's costing me more than sending him to actually Disneyland. So in hindsight, it might not have been. I should have just sent him.
He to be fair, it sounds like he's up to some really cool stuff that I can't wait to hear all about it.
I am very jealous. I won't lie.
But it is weird. It's weird not having him here because obviously, week 39. So 39 weeks ago, me and Sorrell did that first episode, and this is the first time that the pair of us haven't been together. So it is just me and you. But then that is the beauty of obviously having the three of us now, because there's always a couple of us to geek out. So we have got quite a bit to talk about. Where should we start? Let's start with the Marvel Legends 375 line, because they came out with what was it, Wave 6?
It was Wave 6. And then let's just also address the slight elephant in the room, or on camera, I should say. So when we first thought about this, and I had to really force you into getting into this line, and then it was going to be you're just picking up a few.
I know where you're going with
this. And then you had
I've
got this one little empty shelf just off camera here that you can't see. I'm just going to put them there because they'll fit in there. And now I can see that a whole dedicated cube.
I've only got two of them. I've only got two of them just to see how they scaled in the shelf. But I've had a bit of a mix around in the room, in the Jacob's Toys back cave, should we say, or the Jacob's Toys secret base. I've had a bit of a mix around, so I'm moving around a few of my shelves and stuff, mainly because I was trying to access certain figures. And I don't know if you probably can't see because it's behind this cabinet, but I was trying to access one of the figures there, and like a whole cabinet kind of toppled. One fell down off the top and it kind of caught a few on the way down. And I was like, no, you know what? I'm going to have a mix around. So I kind of messed around with this cabinet, and I thought, I've got a dedicated shelf here. I've got enough of these 375s now that putting them in a dedicated shelf. Seeing Steve Evans, he's also got the Detolfs, or the Detolfs, whatever you want to call them, and he's got a shelf that's just and they look good in there. And I am missing I'm still missing Black Panther, but he's obviously included in as the extra pack-in on this new Wave 6. Is it Wave 6? Yeah, Wave 6.
Or is he the extra packet on Wave 5, the one that's just been dispatched with Venom and that?
It might be. Yes, it might be. He's definitely one of the extras in there, isn't it? Because one of the things that they've said is that they want those main characters to be readily available to new collectors, to young kids and all that kind of stuff. So it's good that we're getting all of those characters kind of doubled up. So he's one that kind of eluded me for a while, and I have got him in the Pulse 2-pack, but I've decided not to open those ones. I'm not a mint on card collector, but because they are packaged up differently, I've decided not to open those ones. So I need him, and I need Grey Hulk.
He's the one in.
That's the ones. Yeah. They're the ones I've got.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. These do. I have to admit,
you're gonna do a Steve. You're gonna do a Steve.
No, I wasn't gonna do a Steve. Oh wait, not on these ones. I will keep these ones. It sounds again. I'm not a mint card collector, but this will probably make the backdrop of my loose ones. It is the only ones I'm keeping cards. Every other retro figure I do open, but the ones out of these first edition, the preview, whatever it's called. But I mean, I got these really cheap as well. But I do love these figures, as you know. And if anyone has seen my amazing video on the Wave 6 and my musical number, they're all dedicated to the Steve Evans rip.
It is. It was a good video. It's a good video. But let's moving on to the actual wave. So they announced Wave 6, didn't they? Wave 5 has just landed. So we had like Falcon, Venom, Miss Fantastic. Who was the other ones?
I'm not going to remember them all.
Wolverine and Jean, wasn't it? Wolverine and
that
Phoenix.
was it, but in their comic colors rather than.
Yeah. I forgot about them because I've already got them on my shelf from the Pulse exclusives. But it's those 5, and those have started to land. So people that have pre-ordered them or ordered them, they're now getting them. Mine should be with me. Mine should be with me next week. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, the race is on.
No, you'll get them first. But we were kind of once they were dispatched, we were obviously in that kind of limbo stage, weren't we, where we didn't know what was coming next. We know that they had worked on Wave 6 and Wave 7, so they were kind of in the works. And then they did Hasbro did a Marvel Legends live on Instagram, which was a first for that kind of, usually it's on the YouTube channel and via Pulse and that, but this one was via the Pulse Instagram, which was quite refreshing. I quite enjoyed it. The thing that really got me though, that the amount of people commenting asking for like 6-inch figures and like going, no one cares about these figures, move on to the 6-inch. It's like, have you not read the description? Like, this is literally a 375 reveal. Like, there are no 6-inch figures. But then with that said, at the end, Ryan did show us some in-hand, they're not renders, are they? But like the mock-ups of the 2 Hawkeyes, like Kate Bishop and Clint Barton, and of course that Infinity Ultron as well, which was cool. It was a nice little tease at the end. And he also got like a little kind of stick out, didn't he? And sort of said, oh, look, this is what, and I wasn't quite sure what that was. That could have fallen into so many different people. I'm thinking a Daredevil. I'm hoping a Daredevil. Because the red suited Daredevil 6-inch figure is really hard to get hold of now because it's quite an old figure, and they've got such better like bucks now that they could do a really good red suited Matt Murdock.
Plus, also, like Daredevil's pretty hot on the buzzword at the moment, isn't he? So because of Charlie Cox in in Spider-Man. So
and Disney Plus obviously taking over those as well. But anyway, let's stick to the 365 and 375, and we'll get to that in a minute. So there was 4 figures revealed. Which was your favorite?
Oh, quite a big question. It was between Green Goblin and the Thing. I loved all of them, but I think the Thing might have just tipped the scales for me just because of he was so orange. Like, I know it sounds really stupid, but they didn't pull the punch with it. It looks like it jumps out of the comic book card. Like that's what these are meant to look like. That. I mean, but then again, to have the glider with the Green Goblin, I kind of figured Green Goblin from Steve's sort of clue, the cryptic who watched the skies of the purple, the pinky purple type thing. I thought, oh, maybe we get a Goblin because we've got Spider-Man and stuff like that. So I never expected him to come with a glider accessory though.
No. So I wasn't sure about Black Widow's accessory. Like this, it was just this huge grappling gun thing. So I was like,
I'm more happy about using that for Star Wars figures. Someone made a really good comment on one of my videos though, like on the video about the Wave 6. He said about the Black Widow figure, and his main thing with it was like it was a shame that they used flesh tones for her hands and like forearms, like because she's got the gauntlets on, obviously, she has, and then it's like flesh toned hands. He said because he goes in the comics, the look they're going for, she's always got gloves on, the black
Yeah.
gloves. And even in the comic, on the artwork, on the actual card, she's wearing black gloves.
Yeah.
And once you said that, I couldn't unsee it. And I'm like, no, it does look a bit odd to me. So I might pick up 2 and sort of use some humbrals and paint the hands up to make them look like gloves. But yeah, once he said it, I was like, actually, that's a really good point. Like, she normally has, the look they're going for has gloves. But it's just in the comic art on the actual card, it's black.
I didn't even notice that. I think my favorite, see, I would have said Goblin because he was just so kind of cool. He just, so there was Goblin, there was Thor, there was Green Goblin, there was Black Widow. 4 really strong characters, like really, really good characters to give us. Goblin was the one that when they kind of showed it, I was like, oh, that's amazing. But Thing took it for me because it means that we're rounding out a team now. So we've got the Fantastic Four
team. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know whether that's intentional because obviously they call them, Marvel's first family. And, they were the kind of starting block for a lot of it all and everything. So I don't know if that was intentional to kind of round off that team before anything else, but it was, that to me was a real cool little like bonus point. I was like, no, okay, he's my favorite because it means I'm now rounding out the team. And Silver Surfer as well. So obviously we've got Silver Surfer, so you've got the whole Fantastic Four and the Surfer. Black Widow.
My money is on Doctor Doom for the next wave.
Yeah, Doom's coming next. It's really weird though, because I remember when we spoke to Steve about it, and he said and he said this in previous videos since as well, about the kind of the age range of them, and that they're very much in the 80s coming into the early 90s, kind of that's where it's kind of situated. So people are kind of talking about certain characters, and I'm like, they're not going to come yet. We've got so many potential other characters to come before we get to those characters, like those more modern characters. But I really couldn't call it. Like, I was expecting to see Thor, I was expecting to see Thing, and I was expecting to see Black Widow at some point soon. To get them all in one wave was really nice. But I genuinely couldn't call who we're going to get next. I really couldn't.
No, I mean, the thing is, they can do so many, like you said, because of what they're going for. It just leaves so much up for guessing. And the other thing is, it's nice because I know some people have commented on the small wave of like last wave was smaller, and this one is even smaller. But then Steve did say to us on our interview with him that it was going to be smaller because this is effectively the part where if it wasn't working that well, it would have been sort of the phase out for it. But actually, it is going well. So going forward, it will go back to sort of the bigger full waves again. It's you are right though. I cannot call what the next ones are going to be. I can never call anything with it, and I love that. Love to be surprised.
I would like to see. I'm just looking at them now. You see, I would like to see, and I don't know where they would fit in regards to how quickly they're moving through the eras and stuff. But I'd like to see a War Machine. I think a War Machine would be very cool. I'd like to see a Red Hulk. That would be cool, and it would go nicely with the grey and the green Hulk. I'd like to see a couple more Spider-Man villains, but I think a Dr. Octopus could be really cool. But it's how they would do the tentacles. But yeah,
quite see a Doctor Strange in this style,
Doctor Strange would be very, very cool. But again, I don't know, depending on how quick they're moving through the years and stuff. I don't know when he would come.
Ghost Rider would be a good one.
Ghost Rider, I'd love to have. I would absolutely love to have.
I think he'll be quite far down though.
Yeah, he's going to be a lot more modern.
Preferably with the bike.
Oh, can you imagine? Can you imagine a little?
If we start getting into vehicle 2-packs, I'm going to be like Charles Xavier, but with his hover chair.
Yeah.
The yellow one, that'd be cool.
There's so many X-Men they could do as well. There's the Gambits, the Rogues, the Nightcrawlers, the Beast, can you imagine Beast?
Beast could be the big fig for it. That's the other thing. You always get like, you could think of your normal sizes, but you're going to get a big figure in the wave as well.
You know what I'd like to see, actually? Speaking of Beast, I would like to see, way back when, I think it was, I'm really testing my dates here, but I think it was about 2013, 14. And they did a San Diego Comic-Con box set of the 6-inch original X-Men in the yellow kind of leotards with the blue kind of, and they had Beast and they had Angel. No, was it Beast? Iceman. Oh, who was in it? Beast, Iceman, Jean, Cyclops, and someone else. Maybe it was Angel. I don't know, but it was five characters. I feel really bad not knowing. But I'd like to see that as like a box set, like having a scaled down version of that, because it would tie in with the kind of original comics and the original looks and stuff like that. And I just think it would be cool to have that little setup in 3/3/4 inch. I don't know. I love them. I love them. And I got to agree with Steve as well. Hulk is my favorite because the way he feels in your hand, like he's like, and that was one of the ones that Steve sent me. And as soon as I had it in hand, I was like, yeah, I need to get all of these things. These are really cool. But yeah, it's a good line. It's a good line, and I'm really pleased that they did the reveals live. But then what was interesting as well is that Ryan did say that they were supposed to be revealed on the Hasbro live stream, and they were missed out. So was that intentional? Was it not?
I do think it's one of those lines. Weirdly, it's like no one want, like, all the hardcore 6 inches don't want to talk about it or poo-poo it. Retro Blasting did quite a bit of a thing with it, actually.
Oh, really? Went to town on it.
Yeah, he said about not getting it, and I quite like Retro Blasting's channel, but I didn't. Everyone's got their own opinions, absolutely, but I couldn't quite get what he wasn't getting about it. Still, but it was a bit of an interesting one. Let's say it was, he does some great stuff, but but it is a weird line in the sense that it seems to really polarize people, considering all the weird things that have happened over the years with the lines, like different figure lines. I just find it odd that this is the one that people are going like, oh, I don't get that, like that's the odd one. I don't think it's that much of a wild concept, or like so far out of the norm. Like, when in a time when nostalgia and retro is at its peak with both films, music, everything, it's sort of, I don't know. I just find it really bizarre that this is the thing that's polarizing people.
I think that if it wasn't for
the 6-inch line.
No, if it wasn't for our chat with Steve, I don't think I would have swung over, because when they were announced, I was like, these are cool. I can appreciate them, but I don't need them. And I kind of left them, and I saw them popping up in shops and like supermarkets over here. We had them kind of everywhere at one point. And I was like, these are cool. Like, and I remember seeing a Carol Danvers, and she was in Asda or something like that. And the card was unpunched, and I picked it up and I was like, oh, there's something really cool about that. Like,
still got the Chad.
I'm gonna buy her, yeah, and the Chad, whatever that means. But I was like, yeah, I'm gonna buy it. And then I thought, no, I don't need to buy it, because if I buy her, I'm gonna then get into them, and I don't really want this line. But I think the reason it's dividing people so much is that the 6-inch line has obviously gone strength to strength and is now celebrating its 20th year. But in that time, they've tried with the 3/3/4 inch with the Marvel Universe line, and that was a relatively successful line. There was a lot of figures out there and characters that we haven't had in the 6-inch line, so things like comic accurate Yondu and stuff like that, that we haven't had yet in the 6-inch form. But people were kind of like on the fence, that they didn't really want them because they're fully articulated. So they didn't fall into that nostalgic element, but they also didn't really go with the 6-inch fully articulated for line. And then obviously we had the 12-inch ones as well that people were, iffing and butting. But then the Marvel Legends team have also released the props and the replicas, the helmets, the weapons, all of those kind of things. And people have bought into them without any complaint. But then, like you say, these came out and people just went, oh, what's this? But I think it's because of the whole Kenner thing. And I think when you hear the story and you hear why, it makes perfect sense. It is that kind of what if timeline,
Yeah, I think that didn't even enter my mind because I've always been a Kenner collector.
Yeah. I just, my opinion is, if you don't like them, don't have an opinion. Don't have an opinion. Like, I don't do videos and blogs and rants and stuff about figures that are out there that I don't collect. Like, I've got loads that I could say about the McFarlane lines, but I don't collect them, so I'm not going to share my opinion. Like,
it's saying, I'm not doing any sort of Black Series or Marvel Legend sort of videos. Collect some of the prop stuff. I've done a few of the helmets and stuff like that. But yeah, you are right. people just like to really moan nowadays. And the other thing is, it's just
Yeah.
it's one of the things that it does bug me about collecting. I think I've said it before, but it's just the fact that it's just, why are people so upset about people enjoying anything anymore? What's wrong with enjoying stuff?
I know. It's just as popular now to say that you don't like something that someone else likes. Like, I saw one of the comments
To be the first person to say that you don't like it. Good for you.
Yeah, well done. But I saw a comment on someone's, I don't even know which channel or stream or image it was, but they were talking about the Marvel retro line, and somebody said, "Oh, well, DC give you a comic and the figure for this much, so I'm going to stick with that." And I just thought that's like literally comparing.
Started yet.
But it's like comparing apples to oranges, because if you want a retro Batman, there's no point in buying the Marvel Legends retro line. Like if you want a retro Superman, you're not going to get that. No matter how long you collect this line for, you will not get a Superman in this line. And likewise, you won't get the Incredible Hulk in the DC line or Spider-Man.
It's like me going, I'm still waiting for my Black Series Captain Kirk.
Yeah, yeah.
Coming
exactly.
soon.
Exactly. When are we going to get our what's his name?
C3P Spock. C3P Spock.
Yeah. Oh, when are they gonna do a Predator in this Star Wars? Like, yeah, I don't know. Each their own, I guess. But yeah, it's a strong wave. It's for those that enjoy the line, it's a good line. And I'm excited. I hope they don't wait too long to reveal the next wave. I like to know what they're working on.
I like to know what they're up to.
I'd like to know what they're up to. But when it comes to display as well, like my displays are all I've grouped kind of things together. So, I've got my Spider-Man together, I've got my Spider-Man villains, I've got my X-Men, all that kind of stuff. Whereas with this one, it's really refreshing to just kind of put them all in one cabinet on one shelf. I'm like,
they're all together.
I've got Iceman stood next to Electro, stood next to Elektra. Like, it's fine. I'll do them in alphabetical order.
How it used to happen in the old comics, though, didn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They'd all cross over. Speaking of old comics, I got my 20th anniversary Iron Man. I did a quick review on him. And they are a really cool line. Like a really cool line. Like the price point is a lot higher than the rest. Here he is. But they're basically just kind of redoing the original series from 2002. But the head sculpt on this Iron Man is like straight out of the comic books. Actually, I've got it here. Hang on. I think I've actually got it at hand. Yeah, here we go. Look, it is like straight out of the comic books. Like,
oh wow.
But it's like full on, like Tony Stark from the comic books. It's just insane. And they've only so far released the Captain America, the Iron Man, and the Hulk has recently dropped as well. But I didn't get the Hulk because it is exactly the same as the 80th anniversary Hulk, just different paint jobs, paint work and stuff, but then with a different head sculpt. And I was like, you know what, my 80th Hulk is perfect. Like, that to me is the perfect Hulk figure. So I was like, I don't need the Hulk one, but I can't wait for the Toad. Toad is definitely the next one. So that was my only delivery this week. Got a few things coming next week, but that was just a lonely Iron Man. My one toy. Yeah. But
tell you what, is going to have a lot of toys though.
How good do they look next to each other? Look at them. Look. They're like,
come on, glad you got that line now.
Let's go to school. But they are literally like
it's Iron Man and Iron Lad.
Don't go down that route.
No.
I was never a fan of the Iron Lad, and when they tried to make them all kids, it was just, what was the other one? What were the other ones called? Patriot was one of them, wasn't they?
Oh, Young Avengers, wasn't it? The
Hulkling. I was just like, it didn't do it for me. Go on, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, talking of sort of like toy things being delivered, I've got my Wave 5 obviously on the way, but I've also got an announcement for the some of the Mandalorian Wave 2 Retro 3 3/4 inch figures. They got a dispatch notice. They're sort of coming out a bit early, it seems. They went out for a while, so I mean, which is just in time when you think about it, because obviously everyone's starting to get hyped again, because obviously the Obi Wan trailer dropped.
Yes. So let's move on from
segue I just done there.
Let's move on from miniature Marvel figures and talk about Space Jesus. You know what? If I'm being brutally honest, I was more hyped that it was out, but when I went back and rewatched it, I was like, you know what? It's not shown anywhere near as much as I hoped it would. I don't think it was.
I don't want to see too much.
I am glad, but I don't think it was as good of a trailer as everyone was saying. Does that make sense?
I think it's because it's a bit like the dragons in Game of Thrones. Everyone's just been waiting for so long.
You
know, it's like South Park used to do that parody of them. You know, like the dragons are coming, but
Yeah.
it was a bit like that. So I guess it wasn't long, but
don't get me wrong, I loved it. I was massively
hyped.
We
don't get much more. I don't really want it anymore. I know it sounds really stupid, but
there's no need for anything else.
No, they just leave this until it comes out now.
I don't want to see Anakin. I don't want to see Darth Vader until the show. I want that to be a Rogue One moment. You know what I mean? Where the door goes back and he's there. Do you know what I mean? That's that an amazing film. But
I wonder what the hallway scene's going to be, because that's the new thing, isn't it? Everyone's going to have a hallway scene.
It's just got to be a hallway scene. But what really struck me as well, which was quite a bit of an emotional twist, is this is probably the last time we're going to see Ewan McGregor as Obi Wan Kenobi. Like, there's not much scope following it. I mean, we don't know where it's going to go, but the chances are this is the last time we're going to see him and Hayden Christensen as Anakin as well. That this is the last hoorah. Like, this is it. So, but it looked good. It looked really good. It showed me just enough. Like, the Inquisitors obviously are in it. We've been saying that for a while, haven't we? You know, are they going to be involved? And that's obviously
we got to talk about that, haven't we?
Yeah,
because this is the thing. I'm probably going to have an unpopular opinion now, but I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Because did you ever see what Yoda looked like in Rebels?
Yeah.
Terrifying. Yeah. If we had a Clone Wars accurate Yoda, Yoda would be like this weird puppet with a square jaw. I mean, Samuel Jackson would have to have like cheek implants to make his head. You know, Ewan McGregor would have to have. But it's like, it's just another thing, isn't it? You know, it's something good drops, and people like the first thing they want to do is compare it to something that was a very stylized program as well, really stylized. And I get people saying about like, because you know you got the sort of the more longer face guys from like in Revenge of the Sith from Utapau, which I think is the same species, but like, just it's not going to ruin your Star Wars. Just watch the bloody thing first, give it a chance. You know, wait before you start moaning again.
It is random though, because some characters like Cad Bane, for example, they almost made him like not identical, because there were people picking it apart, but it was close enough that if you like, you know, if you didn't think too much about it, they kind of, you know, blended into one. Whereas obviously like Grand Inquisitor, he's very different looking, but very similar. Does that make sense? Like, I knew who he was from the trailer.
And that's the thing. Surely that's the main point. Everyone knew who he was. And everyone knew who he was to moan about it.
Yeah. But you've also got to look at it in the difference of real life to animation. Like, if they made him in the style of the animation in a TV show, I don't think he would be as like, what's the word? Overpowering, like in the flesh. Like, he would look too frail and too like undernourished and like malnourished. Like, it was just kind of like, yeah, he's not smart. Whereas he looks menacing. And
reminds me of Pinhead actually from Hellraiser a little bit in the trailer.
I was very.
There are a few things that are more terrifying than Pinhead.
Yeah.
Jesus.
What does upset me, and I'm not one of these kind of gatekeepers, but when I've seen some of the reviews and people have gone, "Oh, look, it's like the Jedi Hunters," like, "Oh yeah, I think they're in the comics or something," and it's like, no, go watch your TV shows. This trailer means so much more if you know that. And I've had the same argument with my son, like where he's kind of picked up various different Star Wars at different times. And I'm like, go and watch this series or this particular episode of Clone Wars or whatever, because this particular part will make so much more, like the Ahsoka stuff in Mandalorian. I'm like, go and watch like even just like the Ahsoka collection on Disney Plus, you know, and it will give you enough background to the character that you think she's great now, but it will be so much better when you see all the kind of history that's behind her. And I think the same is going to be said for this. And I think that's probably why they made that design choice, because there are going to be people that haven't seen all of those kind of animations and all of that history. Their first interaction with these Inquisitors are going to be through the Obi-Wan's series. So they have to make them scary. You know, they have to do it for everyone, not just for old fans. So,
yeah,
but I
totally agree.
Yeah, the bit that got me was the Duel of the Fates. As soon as that kicked in, I was like, "Oh, we're in business now. This is you could just you could have ended it there, and that was like, they could have just dropped a trailer.
Possibly the greatest thing to come out of prequels would be the Duel of the Fates, because it's just an incredible piece of music.
Yeah. They could have literally just dropped
Making
a trailer.
Sandwich,
that was
put Duel of Fates on. Makes it
just
better.
the title of the show with Duel of the Fates, and that was the trailer. That would have been enough. That would have been enough to hype me. Actually, my lightsaber plays Duel of the Fates.
Obi-Wan looking for his keys.
Yeah. Just Ewan McGregor brushing his hair. Like it's just like but yeah, I'm really excited. I think there's a lot of and for what we've seen in the trailer, there's there's going to be so much more. Like, what is the big shocking moment? What is the big kind of twist? What's the big reveal? Like, there's all these things. We saw obviously young Luke as well, which was cool. Yes. Like seeing him do the kind of almost like the pod racer-esque kind of like movements.
And did you notice no one's been moaning about that? In fact, his hair's a different color.
No, they don't care. They got the Inquisitors moaning about.
Do you know what I mean? I think even I was like, "Oh, his hair's quite dark," and got like instantly over it. It was just an observation. Then I thought to myself, "Wait, why is no one moaning about that? They're moaning about the."
Maybe he like dyes it in his kind of teen, like like we all went through that kind of frosted tips stage. maybe he's got that to come, like. But it's just.
But he's putting lemon juice in his hair, and then it naturally goes a bit lighter in the sun. The twin
dyeing
suns.
His hair with blue milk.
Yeah.
You're
not my real dad.
What's his name as well? Talk about dads. He's coming back as the uncle.
Uncle
I can't
Owen,
remember the actor's name. Who was it who's coming back? I can never remember his name, but he's obviously, reprising his role.
Beru's coming back as well.
Oh, really?
Reprising her role, yeah.
Amazing.
I can't remember what his name is.
No, I can't.
Avatar, isn't it?
It'll come. It'll come to me.
His brother or something? I don't know. It'll come. This is when we need Ash to be here with his computer skills, because he's got his thing logged up separately. He's like our guy in the chair.
Who do you think the big reveal is? If they're going to do a big kind of reveal, a big kind of Cad Bane, Darth Vader, Cad Bane, Luke Skywalker moment, who do you think it's going to be in this?
Qui-Gon.
Oh, good shout.
I think it will be the spirit of Qui-Gon, and I think that will be the big reveal, because you probably can't go do too much, because I think everyone's expecting to see Darth Vader or Anakin in some capacity. We know we're getting that, so that's not going to be a big reveal.
No.
I don't think the Emperor would be that big a reveal, and I don't think it sort of fits. It needs to have the Emperor in it. It's a very very secular small thing.
And seeing the Emperor isn't even a big deal anymore. Like it's the Emperor. Oh, he's here again. Like it's.
I'm just here to secure more financing for my next battle station again.
I'm building it.
Naming any names, but someone let it get blown up. I
wouldn't mind betting that we will see a hint towards, if not a cameo from Darth Maul, very much like the Solo kind of cameo bit we got at the end. Because even if it was just him watching him from the other side of the desert, that kind of led into the was it Rebels that he.
Yeah,
it was Rebels, wasn't it? Something along that line that kind of crosses over. I don't think we'll get a big showdown, or maybe we will. Maybe that's why we got the old Duel of the Fates. It's hinting towards stuff that's come before, and maybe we will get Darth Maul.
Because I think the other thing as well, like by the end of this series, the Empire's got to sort of think that Kenobi's dead. That's the important thing, because obviously the whole point in New Hope and everything is that they think that Tarkin and Vader are pretty convinced that he's dead.
Yeah.
But then Vader's like, no, I can sense him, sort of thing. So I would assume that by the end of it, it will be sort of I kind of feel like we might get an echoing of Revenge of the Sith when Obi left Annie. I kind of feel like there's going to be a Darth leaves Obi, or one of the Inquisitors leaves Obi-Wan Kenobi in a sort of he's dead sort of situation.
Yeah, maybe that would work. Think about Rebels as well, because obviously Rebels did touch on the fact that Obi-Wan was there, he was older because Darth Maul had kind of chased him down, and we had that kind of square off there. So where does this take place? Is this after that? Because if this
I
is
think this is
after that,
before, because he looks younger than
younger,
what
yeah,
the character model is in.
yeah. But
Rebels.
see, I was wondering all that, but then obviously with the changes of like the Inquisitors and stuff, the animations aren't really a good reference point. So I was like, oh well, actually, if they're changing him to look this way, then how am I supposed to work out where? So
and the
I don't
Inquisitors
know.
are actually, a couple of them are the ones that get killed by like Kanan and all that, aren't they? So
yes,
because you got the brother with the big hat,
that's
his
true.
brother.
Actually, yeah.
So I guess they'll have to be alive. So I guess it'll have to be either alongside Rebels or before Rebels, because it can't be after, because they're still alive. So it has to be before or during.
Can you imagine if it was like Kanan that we got? That was the big reveal. We got like the Rebels cast, or at least a couple of them. Like that would be like Ezra or something.
Ezra and Chopper, I think I could see.
That would be cool, because they're obviously coming in, aren't they? They've been cast. Like Ezra's been cast. And what show is it that he's crossing in with?
That's
Is it
this
Ahsoka or the
one, yeah.
Bo-Katan? Ahsoka or Bo-Katan, is it one of them? But that would be quite cool. That'd be a cool reveal, actually. I could see that happening.
Things I like that. I don't think it's gonna be too much in the way of big stuff, because I think this is going to be a really secular story, in the sense that like it's sort of like a very small story, because it's only 6 episodes, and I feel like this is basically an expanded version of the movie that they had. Because remember, an Obi-Wan Solo movie was really planned back when they first started doing standalone films. Like
it
they were
was,
talking
wasn't
about
it?
It was always one of the ones that was going to be on the cards.
So was the Yoda movie, wasn't it?
I think Yoda, Boba Fett, and Obi-Wan were sort of the movies. So we've already had now the Boba Fett series. Obi-Wan was the big one that everyone was talking about. So I think there's obviously going to be elements of what the original script and that I think they had a clear plan what they were going to do with an Obi-Wan spin-off movie, and they've obviously now got the luxury where they can expand it a bit into a sort of a 6-part story, a real complete picture thing. So I think it won't be too much that leads on to anything else. I think it's going to be a really sort of nice contained story. That's why I don't think there'll be too many big reveals, because I think it's going to be really focused on Obi-Wan. It's going to be really focused on the guy who's conflicted maybe between trying to save what's left of the Jedi Order and his duty to look after the boy. I think that's going to be the big thing with him. It's going to be like, what does he do? Because there's a chance we might see something like Cal Kestis or something like that, in a force sense type thing, just when he's sensing. I did think it'd be kind of cool, but like I said the other day, like a Cerebro type thing, maybe Obi-Wan sort of he sees everyone that there are still Jedi out there, and then realizes it's not his, he can just look after the boy, and maybe he sort of cuts himself off from the force after that or something. That'd be quite cool to see, just like almost like little blue holograms of like in his mind of like Cal Kestis and all the
That'd
other
be
Jedi.
quite cool. It really stands up though to show how much that they can kind of write, like that they can expand these stories and flesh out whole stories and whole narratives in between like concluded stories, because obviously the films and stuff were made as beginning, middle, and ends, and then we had like graphic novels and comic books and stuff, and then we've had so much animation. It's incredible that they can still push out these full kind of, even if they're only 6-parters, that's still the best part of 6 hours worth of storytelling in a story that we didn't even know existed. And that's what I'm really excited about, is that this is a chapter of those characters that essentially will change the narrative of those characters forever. There's a good sort of 6 hours worth of stuff to come, which is really exciting. Because all those little things, that even just like the scene with Obi-Wan and Darth Maul from Rebels, like changes the story of those two characters completely. Not changes the story, but expands on what you know to be true about those characters. It's like a good deleted scene, it changes your perspective of a film, doesn't it? Look at the Snyder Cut, for example, is a prime example. How if you add the different bits in, how it changes, everything.
Another example of that actually today, or when we filmed this, like on the day, I actually saw Godfather 3 today at the cinema. They've been doing the Godfather trilogy over a few weeks. Because 50 years since the first Godfather film came out, which is just mad.
That's insane. That is insane.
I mean, the first two are just like perfect films. They're amazing. The third one's always been the one that people have been like, had the most critical backlash of that. I mean, Sofia Coppola's acting in it is just awful, but it's still not bad. But this was the Coda edition, which is the recut one. So when they went back and actually re-edited it, like the beginning's different, the end's different, and they did a couple of bits in the middle as well. And it's funny having seen the third one quite a while ago. I could, from what I remembered of it, tell that this cut was better and much more enjoyable. Still about the same length of time and stuff, but it's amazing what sometimes just re-editing or adding something, changing the order, removing some bits and adding tiny little bits in can make a big difference. I mean, obviously, they said the Snyder Cut was a massive sort of undertaking, but was amazing, and it just turned a very, very average film into an exceptional film.
Do you know, I've still not seen the whole thing the whole way through the Snyder Cut.
Oh, do you know what? I got so engrossed. I meant to watch it in 2 parts, and just ended up staying up till like stupid o'clock watching it because I just couldn't stop watching it.
Yeah, it's one of them ones that I keep going, right, I need to sit down and do this now because I've seen enough of it to see all the differences and stuff like that. But I was like, right, I need to do this now. But I've put off watching Justice League again because the next time I watch it, I want to see the Snyder Cut because I know it will change my perspective on I enjoyed the Justice League, and for all its flaws and stuff, I was like, you know what, I've got the Justice League in live action. I'm happy, whatever. But
Flash's character changes a big amount as well because he was just a bit too. I wasn't sure what they were sort of trying to do with him in the Joss Whedon cut, and I was like, there was a couple of bits sort of bugged me about it, but it was all right. Like, I still had a good time when I watched it.
I just want a full film based off of that like nightmare scene where the characters are all like post-apocalyptic and Joker's there in his like long hair and Flash has got a full face mask.
Post-credit scene with that, it's just added to the end of the film, and it's like it's long as well.
Yeah,
it's like it's just a shame it's just not going to go anywhere anymore.
No, that's the real shame because I was like, there is a whole film here, like but never mind. But no, I like the Godfather films as well. Like the Godfather films are top of my lists. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm one of these people that the third film in a trilogy is always tends to be the worst. Like, let's be honest. Like, people always kind of criticize the third more. But for me, it's a chapter of the story. Like, yes, it's not a Godfather. It's not even a Godfather Part 2, but it is still a Godfather. It's still that kind of concluding part of the story and where he goes and stuff. And yeah, so I didn't mind it.
I would recommend watching the code. It's called Godfather 3, Godfather Coda: The Death of Michael Corleone. That's what the newer version's called, and I would really recommend giving it a go.
Yeah,
you can get it on DVD and stuff, so it's readily available at all good DVD stores. But
speaking of readily available, though, you dropped the news that obviously we're getting Peacemaker over here as well. Peacemaker is coming to the UK.
Finally, the thing is, so many people would have watched that illegally by now. Like,
I know, and I know how it ends. I know how it ends. I know the conclusion sort of bit, and it's one of the ones
the
that I want to watch
cameos, but I haven't actually. But I don't know what actually happens in the series still, which is good.
I've not followed the narrative. Yeah, I've avoided the kind of narrative of the story, but I know how it ends, and I know kind of what bits to look out for and stuff. But I don't feel that it's ruined it. I think it's exciting enough that it's not ruined it. But yeah, so I'm excited to get hold of that. Speaking of James Gunn, obviously we've spoken as well about Guardians of the Galaxy, the live immersive experience being announced by Secret Cinema.
My tickets today.
Did you? See, we haven't booked. What dates are you going on?
So it's turned into a full family event.
Wow.
So my mum, my dad, my 2 sisters, my sister's other half, obviously me, my wife. So I've got 7 tickets booked for they're doing it 2 different ways this year. So in previous sort of Secret Cinemas, you could do the experience and you do the film.
They're offering the experience alone, aren't they?
Yeah, so you can go and sort of be part of the world of the first film, and then you can pay extra and you can do the enhanced viewing on the second film. Now, I always recommend doing the enhanced viewing because when I saw Star Wars, like I said, I lived through the first film. That was the experience part, which was just mind-blowing. And then when I watched the second part, the amount of live actors and stuff like that you have coming in and doing, and like you said with the Back to the Future one, it's it's such a rare opportunity. But also, one of the biggest things about this, what I love, is that everyone's phone has to be sealed. There's no one, everyone's just in it, and no one's sitting there. You don't have to get out of the way because someone's trying to take a picture or a selfie, or no one's sitting there going, "Oh, so I got to take this call," and blah blah blah. It's really sort of just everyone being in the experience, and it's fantastic. I can't wait. I really can't wait. It's a lot of money, for the full experience bit, like for the experience and the film, it was about 82 quid a person.
Did you go premium or just standard?
No, that's just standard. But to be honest, like I said, it is a lot of money, but they are proper lifelong
really
memory experiences. Like you won't get experience again. Like I said, it's not something that everyone's going to be able to. You can't live through the pictures of whatever. It's something that you are fully.
You have to be a part of it.
Yeah.
You might want to start saving your pennies then, because I had a little bit of a deep dive. It wasn't even a deep dive, but I had a little bit of a look. And Secret Cinema have signed a contract with Disney now. So you're looking at Marvel, Star Wars, Disney, obviously. So I think the next few of their events, if I was a gambling man, which I am, so I'll probably put a bet down, but I wouldn't mind betting that the next few of their events are going to be very much streamlined with what the Disney offering is. So you'll have a Disney one, you'll have a Star Wars one, you'll have a Marvel one, and I think Guardians of the Galaxy is a great jumping off point because it's something that you can be involved in as a background person, as one of the people in the world, but still be very heavily involved. It's not a 5-man film. It's a huge world, isn't it? So I haven't booked mine yet. I'm gonna definitely get on board and get some, but I know the pre-sale went live yesterday, I think it was, or the day before.
It ends Monday.
Yeah, but to be honest with you, they're doing so many dates. It's on for like about 2 months, isn't it? 2.5 months, with like 2 showings a day, and like there will be.
I just didn't want to risk it, to be honest. I know they extend it sometimes as well, but it's one of those things. It'll be a few times I just didn't want to risk it. So I was like, but yeah, October the 9th I've got for.
Nice. It's
on a Sunday, so I can take the Monday off to fully rest.
Yeah. And what I did notice as well is that they're gonna issue you a character. They're gonna issue you who your character is, and that's a lot of work.
You say that, it's not too bad, because they did that with Moulin Rouge. You got what your sort of occupation was, a character name, traits, things to bring with you, and stuff like that. It is all still completely optional. You can just turn up in your normal clothes. It's much more, but they do send you a character thing. They make up a character and they send it to you, and it'll be you choose what your affiliation or whatever it is. But like with the Moulin Rouge one, they did that. It told you what your sort of profession was and stuff like that. And I was a shoe shine for that. And I was like, one of the little beggar guys, And the funny thing is, it's like everyone's going, "Oh, I need to go out and buy a costume." Mine was like, "Oh, you need a flat cap, waistcoat." I was like, this is my wardrobe. When I'm not wearing a nerd shirt, I'm always wearing like a shirt and a waistcoat and a flat cap, as you know. Like, so for me, I was like, "Oh, this is easy." I just went in my clothes.
It's funny because the Back to the Future one, there wasn't characters, like you weren't given characters. You were just kind of told what to roughly wear. Like, I'll dress in the style of this. That was their very first
one, though, wasn't it?
It was one of the earlier ones. Yeah, definitely one of the earlier ones. I think Shawshank was their first one. I can't remember, but it's definitely one of the earlier ones. But also as well, that one was outside the Back to the Future one, naturally, because of where it took place. Whereas this one has been penned as an indoor event. So, you're obviously going to be on some kind of spacecraft. I wonder whether it's going to be set in the prison. Like, there's so much that they could do with it.
I think there's going to be multiple locations.
Yeah, I agree.
Because the Star Wars one was multiple. Like I said, it was a spaceship, then it was Tatooine, and then we were on the Death Star. There was quite a few, and it was the cantina, so there was quite a few different locations. So I think, given the scale, that this is their first big one since Moulin Rouge obviously put in lockdown stuff. So they've had a long time to plan it.
Yeah.
So,
and it's their first Marvel one, isn't it? It's the first Marvel one.
That's why I didn't want to risk it with the tickets, because this is the first what I think is the most openly accessible one.
Yeah.
Because I know the amount of people that maybe wouldn't go and watch like the Moulin Rouge, the Blade Runner, Star Wars, 28 Days Later, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Marvel, especially Guardians of the Galaxy, is just one of the most accessible films that Marvel have done. Like the amount of people I know don't like sci-fi, but like Guardians of the Galaxy, don't like Marvel films, but think Guardians of the Galaxy is really funny because it's such a good comedy film and ensemble piece. So it's quite an interesting one. And also, they are doing 18 plus showings and family viewings.
Yeah,
They're doing
but
two different.
even the family ones are 12 plus because my two eldest wanted to go and they're not over 12, so they couldn't. So I was like, no, you can't do it. Can't do it. Sorry, it's just saying I'm gonna have to go on my own too. I was gonna leave you guys behind.
Oh no, just make it cheaper for me as well. Oh damn it!
I'm gonna have to go and play on my own. But yeah, it looks good. It looks really cool. I can't wait. I cannot wait. So I'll let you know.
Anyone pegged to go? If you haven't got everything, obviously come along to come along on the night.
It's cool. I put it on. Did a quick review on YouTube, and there's been a couple of people comment and messaging saying when they're going. So there's definitely talk about it. So people are definitely going. So, speaking of Guardians, I started watching a program on Netflix called Guardians of Justice. Have you seen that?
Oh, I haven't seen it yet, but I've seen the thing. I've added it to the list because
I have no idea what this is about. It's just nuts. It is nuts.
Yeah.
It is like a bootleg action figure TV show. Like it's insane. It's just gory. It's just like a really badly ripped off Justice League that really is quite cool. Like I'm really enjoying it. But I have
a lot
no
of people
idea
have sort of gone, it's fucking nuts, but watch it, and I'm like, okay, yeah. I've added it to the list.
It's it's definitely worth a watch. Definitely worth a watch. 100% worth a watch. It's just the main character is like a Batman-esque kind of thing, and it's even like I can't even remember what, like he's got a Robin character and he's called like Kid Wing or Little Wing or something like that. It's literally just like the bad guy is like the Laughing Man or something like that. It's so badly ripped off.
So basically, the closest they can get without breaching copyright infringement.
Oh yeah, massively. It's like it's so, but it owns it, if that makes sense. Like they're not trying to be. It doesn't feel. I think even the name of the production company is like Bootleg Productions or something like that. But it's not trying to be a new superhero that's just like, oh, this has worked, so I'm going to try to create a new thing. It's like they're doing like a parody of
sort of like a very tongue-in-cheek type thing.
Yeah. So it kind of works because you know that they're not trying to build a universe with this. They're just basically just trying to take the mix, sort of thing. But it's just loads of little in jokes and stuff. But there is literally like an underwater guy. There is like a princess of power kind of like Amazonian warrior. There's a bow and arrow expert. There's somebody that runs really fast. There's a Superman. There's a Batman. There's a Robin. Like it's Brilliant. Just insane. It really is. But it's cool. I like it. I'm liking it. I'm only on episode 2, but I'm excited to see where that goes. Definitely.
Other film news though. Did you see that Ridley Scott said he's going to do Alien 5?
Did not. Wow.
Yeah. So, and the thing is, Neil Blomkamp, from like District 9, Elysium, Chappie, he put out loads of content out for the Alien 5 he wanted to make with Sigourney Weaver and Michael Biehn.
Yeah.
I always thought it was BN, but apparently it's Biehn.
Okay.
Like the one who goes play Hicks in Aliens.
Yeah.
And it basically was going to be a direct sequel to Aliens, rather than and just ignore Alien 3 and Resurrection. So, and Ridley Scott was like, "Oh no, because I've got big plans for that." Which means he was doing his sort of Prometheus franchise. He didn't want anything to sort of interfere with that. But now, obviously, what was Fox is really sort of ramping back up with that because there's an Alien TV show in the works,
nice.
Which is still going ahead. So, which I can imagine working the TV show. There's the new Predator film in the works. The code name of it at the moment is Skulls, I think it is, but it's all set, I think, in like olden days rather than being a modern film. And then you've got, like I said, now Ridley Scott said about he's doing Alien 5, so it's not going to be the next, because everyone I think was waiting for the sequel to Alien Covenant, because Alien Covenant ended on a cliffhanger type thing with David having everything. So and was also I really enjoyed that film.
I've enjoyed all of them.
Yeah,
I've enjoyed all of them.
Even the Josh Whedon, the Alien Resurrection, which is just absolutely nuts.
Oh, it's crazy.
Great fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of cool. I like the fact that it's just a franchise. It's not going away. It's like Terminator. Like I know everyone moans about every time a new Terminator comes out. I've enjoyed them all.
Yeah.
I've only just started watching the Sarah Connor Chronicles, but that's really good.
Yeah, I kind of stopped watching. I kind of stopped paying attention after Terminator 3, but I've watched them all. If that makes sense. Like I've not really kind of been overly like enthusiastic or passionate about any of them, but I've enjoyed them. I've kind of watched them, and I was like, even the most recent one, the was it Dark Fate with Arnie reprising his role?
Yeah.
I was like, you know what, it's kind of cool. Like, yeah, he grows old and gets married, and then just it never comes up.
Talks about the drapes and everything. I just thought it was really fun. I don't know why. It's just
I know, but yeah, that's wicked. That's exciting. Speaking about old films and stuff as well, I know we mentioned this earlier, but Fortnite's latest crossover is Universal Monsters.
Yes,
and they've put out a trailer. It's a long trailer. It's about 9 minutes long. And it basically kind of sets up why these Universal monsters have ended up in the Fortnite world. But I think it's a kind of like a lot of the comments are kind of people going, I would just play this game as it is. Like, don't make it a Fortnite game. I want to play this game. And I enjoy Fortnite. I dip on and off now. Like my son enjoys it. We play it together and stuff, but I don't know. It just doesn't quite work right with me. My argument with my son is that I'll enjoy a character on there if it kind of ties in with them, that they would carry a gun or use a gun, if that makes sense. So with the Marvel crossover where they had like Iron Man and stuff, I would use the Iron Man suit because I'm like, okay, he's holding a gun, but he would normally sort of shoot in it. But I don't want to play as Spider-Man. Like I've got the Terminator skin because the Terminator would hold a gun. I've got the Boba Fett or the Mandalorian, I've got those skins because they would hold guns, but I couldn't be Mary Jane or like Ariana Grande or something like that. It's like they don't make sense to me. Like whereas Universal Monsters, I'm kind of like Van Helsing. I'd play as Van Helsing because he would carry weapons and stuff, but I don't really want to run around as Dracula. But they've kind of reimagined all these characters, so they look really cool, and it looks really like the vocal talent on the trailer and the animation and everything. It's really quite cool. It basically shows the Bride of Frankenstein kind of rounding up all of these monsters, and then they kind of kill Van Helsing, and then they have to go through to this place, and it opens up, and it's the Fortnite map. But it kind of really clashes because obviously the Fortnite map's all bright and greens and blues and stuff, and this was very dark, and then it opens up and there's Fortnite, and then they're like, oh, okay. But yeah, they've got Frankenstein, Dracula, Bride of Frankenstein, the Mummy, Wolfman or Werewolf. I think that's
Invisible Man, I'm guessing.
If he was there, I didn't see him. I'm just yeah.
No, that's nice.
But yeah, no, it looks cool. I just, it never seems to surprise me how much that game gets like crossover wise. Like it literally has everything. Like I've got in my item store and my wardrobe or whatever it's called. I've got Predator, I've got Alien, I've got Venom, I've got Terminator, I've got Cable from the X-Men. Like it's just nuts how I've got Mandalorian, I've got Boba Fett. Like it's crazy how you can just. And I think that's the appeal for me is it's like, oh, I'm enjoying the Mandalorian at the moment. I'll play as the Mandalorian, or I'm enjoying reading X-Men at the moment. So I'll play as Cable or Deadpool or whatever. Like it's nuts. It's yeah. I don't think I would have picked it up properly if it wasn't for my son getting into it. But it's an enjoyable game. There's no two ways about it. It's one of the ones that you can turn it on, you can play a match, you can turn it off. Like you don't have to sit down and commit like 5 or 6 hours to a game to feel that you've played it. You can just log on, play, log off. So I might go and play it when I come off this. Just why not?
Talk yourself into it now, haven't you?
But I don't buy into it anymore. I've only bought one battle pass, which was two battle passes, which was the Star Wars one, the Mandalorian one, and the Marvel one. And basically, as you work your way through it, so the more you play, you unlock stuff essentially. And with the Marvel one, you unlock the different characters, and it was all Marvel characters. And it was like, you got like a new part of the suit and stuff. And with the Mandalorian, you got the basic armor. And then as you worked your way through, you unlock different parts of the Beskar armor. So if you completed the battle pass, which is like 100 levels, by the end of it, you've got full Beskar. So that was kind of, there was an appeal to kind of play it. Whereas for me, the Fortnite characters and I don't need to be paying for a battle pass to unlock stuff I don't care about. So, and then occasionally you'll just get things like the Terminator skin just come out on it. So you pay £5 or you pay like however many V-Bucks, which is their currency, and you can have this skin and play as a Terminator. So I've got like an exoskeleton that I run around as, which is pretty cool. Like, it's just, the kid in me going like, I want to play a computer game where free roaming world where I can just shoot people dressed as
where Terminator puts down Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. But I think like news-wise, I think that pretty much covers like everything major. I mean, there wasn't anything huge Star Wars news, was there? Like,
no,
figure-wise?
Transformers was quiet. Star Wars was quiet. I mean, like I said, the retro collection Star Wars figures have actually started shipping out. So everyone's wondering if there's going to be a Book of Boba retro wave. I kind of hope there is.
There's got to be.
I don't think there. I'm unsure if there will be. I hope there will be.
No, there's got to be.
But it'll probably be like a year behind.
Yeah, there's got to be.
Other than that, it's not a huge amount. I mean, the thing is, like you said, we've been so spoiled over last year. Everything's sort of starting to catch up now.
Yeah.
So now it really will be like maybe every few weeks we'll get like a big reveal and stuff here and there. But I mean, I think when Doctor Strange and Morbius drop, I think that's when we'll see it more, because obviously that's very soon. They've started putting the Morbius trailer back in the cinema again now. Because that's obviously coming up very closely. Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting year for Marvel films, though. I think with the films they've got coming out, I think it's going to be a real sort of. I kind of see some people jumping onto the Marvel stuff, and I feel like there's going to be some big jumping offs as well.
Oh, I agree. I totally agree. Well, we've got 6 months of Marvel we've got, or 5 months of Marvel, whatever. So we've got Moon Knight coming out this month. We've got Morbius coming out next month, April. We've got Doctor Strange, I think, the month after.
Yeah.
There's something else that I can't quite remember. And then there's like Thor, Love and Thunder. So it's like there's literally something big happening every single month. But they're not tied into other things. Like, building up to Endgame and Infinity War, everything kind of went back to where it was, didn't they? Whereas these things aren't. And they've even said that Moon Knight isn't directly linked to anything immediate at the moment. But that does surprise me, because obviously we've had this big crossover with Defenders and stuff, and Defenders are now over on Disney Plus, and Charlie Cox has been knocking around the recording studios like so I'd be really shocked if Moon Knight doesn't tie into something somehow. Speaking of Disney Plus, did you see as well, because in America they're obviously getting the Defenders and the Netflix Marvel shows are coming over to Disney Plus, but there's been a real backlash of people complaining about like this mature content coming onto the Disney Plus platform, because over in America they don't have the Star element. So we've got over here, we've got like Walking Dead and stuff,
like Family Guy, so American Dad.
Yeah, so much, Deadpool, Logan, like all those films that we've got on Disney Plus, access to on Disney Plus, and they don't have it over there. So the Defenders coming over is changing. And there's this big, I can't remember the name of the website, but they kicked off this big kind of protest about how it's not in keeping with the brand and how it's changing the platform. But it has some really good parental restrictions and stuff on it. So you can set it up so that
a parent lock on it.
That stuff just doesn't appear on certain profiles and stuff, which it's, I don't know, but I just thought it was really odd. Yeah, it's just really strange that Deadpool 3 has officially got a director and stuff. It's got what's his name, who did Free Guy and The Adam Project, that has recently come off, and he's called it his Ryan Reynolds trilogy, because he's now doing his Deadpool film. And that's exciting. And the other bit of rumor was Daniel Radcliffe as Wolverine. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I don't see it.
I mean,
but
the thing is
if he does get cast in it, I don't care. I'll wait till I see it and then I'll make a judgment. But
Yeah, exactly. Where Robert Pattinson became Batman like that. It's right. Robert Pattinson became Batman. Anything is possible. So just keep your minds open, people, because
I am still really enjoying that. I really want to go see it again.
yeah, I'm really enjoying the hype of it all.
I'm listening to the soundtrack a lot.
The score was exceptionally good. Yeah, exceptionally good. But yeah, and there's a lot of talk as well about like the Matt Reeves kind of universe that they're now looking at kind of making a universe in that style, which could be potentially quite good. How much clout there is in that
Batman
room?
to have its own little thing. I mean, we've got the Penguin series and stuff coming up. I'm happy for that to be its own thing, and they want to do the rest of Justice League somehow of the way. I don't care if we've got two different people playing Batman at the moment. If there's a Justice League Batman and this Batman, I don't care.
We are lucky and fortunate to live in a time where we've just got this stuff on our screens. So if the 10-year-old kid in me knew all this stuff would be available when I was an adult, I think my little head would have just exploded.
I mean, even think about it. When we first started hanging out, we discovered that we both like sort of comic books and stuff like that.
Whoa! Right? Did we just become best friends? It's just
it was. But you think about our conversations then about it, and like how exciting it was to find like another friend that was interested in that. Yeah. And just been talking about all the comic book movies we had when we had like 10. But like we were like, oh, you got so many to choose from now. And can you imagine even telling us then, like
I know.
15 years ago, whatever it was now,
Oh, I know. It's insane. Yeah, it's absolutely insane. And I think that the inclusion of Disney Plus and the ability to have those TV shows, because when Daredevil first came out and those Netflix shows came out, the idea of having these full kind of story arcs within a TV show was so cool. Yeah, we just got so much, which is just so cool. Just so cool. Yeah, cool. All right, let's take note on that. That is a good place to round up. So obviously, if you have tuned in to see SuperSorrell, you'll see that he is absent this week because the guy is over in Florida enjoying Galaxy's Edge. But hopefully we'll get something from him next week. We've been chatting with him outside of the show, and there's lots of exciting things going on for him. So, so stay tuned. He'll hopefully be involved somewhere or another next week. But if not, it will definitely be back the week after. If you're listening on YouTube or watching us on YouTube rather, then please do like, share, subscribe, do all those things. All support to this show is very much appreciated. Check us out on Instagram and Facebook. And of course, if you're listening to us on podcast, then please do continue to download, share, and all those things, because our podcast stats are kind of creeping up still. And it'd be nice to see that kind of, keep continuing to rise. So if we are the podcast that you're listening to, then we do appreciate that. And we thank you for listening.
That was very Obi Wan then. We are the podcast you're listening to.
We are the podcast that you've been looking for. But yeah, no, we do appreciate it. But do check out the description below. And obviously look out for Sorrell's details and of course Ryan's details. And without saying my details as well. And go and give us all a follow on various other social media platforms. Any final thoughts? Any last minute things you want to add in? Speaks Geek.
I am tired and I am hungry. Or did you mean specifically about geek stuff?
I meant more kind of about the Geek Week in Review, but now you've said it, I'm kind of hungry as well.
Okay, damn it. Sorry. Well, you got to be specific about these things.
Yeah.
Here's a random thing I have to hand. Normally I have something random around. Today it's Batman Returns on Game Gear.
On the Game Gear. Wow.
On the flipping Game Gear.
Wow, that is a real blast from the past.
That's how you end the show, right there. You drop a Game Gear game.
I went Game Gear when all my friends went Game Boy. And to have that color screen in your hands, it was amazing. It was amazing. Yeah. Brilliant. All right, no, Ryan, pleasure as always. Thanks very much, everyone, for listening, watching, all the rest of it.
We should be able to do this week.
It's what?
I should be able to do it this week. Right?
I reckon you might be able to. All right, you reckon so. Right, ready? So, if you are listening, we'll catch you next week. Thank you very much for tuning into this week's show, which leaves me to say one last thing. Keep it geek.
The Geek Week in Review.